Alrighty everyone, so if you're anything like me, then you know now is a pretty bad time to buy a house. I mean, interest rates, inflation, just regular cost of housing, all that's pretty bad. But with the upcoming inevitable metaverse future, I was thinking, but what if we take the Sinnoh region from Pokemon Diamond and Pearl and put it in the metaverse? Then could we finally have somewhere worth living? It's a weird question, but I think I might have an answer. So in today's video, we're going to go over some different towns and cities in Pokemon Diamond, specifically the remake for the Nintendo Switch, and determine what place is the best place to live. And to make sure we're consistent in our ratings across the different cities, we'll be looking at three things. 1. Economic viability. 2. Housing availability. And 3. If it's actually somewhere I'd like to live. Okay then, so the first place on our list is Orber City. It seems like most of the economy here is just mining, which is fine, but I don't work in industrials. I'm a data science guy, so I need some computers and things to work on. Interesting, one thing about this economy is that it seems like there's a lot of Pokemon and human collaboration. But there's also some issues when you're coming into mines. First, there's kids working here, so I don't know how I feel about that, child labor and all. There's also a lot of wild Pokemon down here, which can be very dangerous from time to time. So I don't know if I would want to work here very often, or at all. You know, it's just pretty dangerous. As we go farther into the depths, it seems like one of the weird pastimes of working here is fighting Pokemon. I don't know how I feel about that. It seems kind of dangerous to do that on the job. You know what? I don't do anything with mining, so maybe I should talk to some of those people and see if this is something that they normally do during the workday. Although we didn't get much footage of it, there's actually plenty of housing available here in Orber City. Most of it is single family residencies. Check them all over. Do I like it? I think it's okay. Definitely not my first place that I think about wanting to live in this Sinnoh region, but I think it gets a pass from me. Next on our list is Itura, the underground man. He seems like a nice guy. If you're looking for an employment in mining, but not necessarily want to fight Pokemon all the time, this is definitely the guy for you. The next one is the bike shop. So looks like this is the Sinnoh region's main exporter of bikes, which is kind of interesting. So there's one bike shop in the entire region. Monopoly. This guy knows what he's doing. I mean, look at all these bikes. The next thing is that the city has a ton of condominiums. And by that I just kind of mean one building, but at least it's on the brochure, so there's plenty of housing here. I guess if you just want something smaller, that totally works, but if you want to get something a little bit bigger, you know, have a nice little family, that'll work here as well. The next place on our Pokemon housing and job journey is Veilstone City. And this is probably my favorite place so far, so just walking around, and some towers nearby for housing multiple families in a single building. The next thing is the Veilstone department store. As far as I understand, there isn't anything else like this in the rest of the Sinnoh region. So if you want to find something specific for your Pokemon during battle, or something for the underground, this is the place to be. And also on the very top floor, there's a vending machine, and guess what they sell? Bottled water. So that's pretty insane, just to have that at the top floor. Here we have a distribution center for the Metronome style shop. So it looks like this might be the Sinnoh region's only one-stop shop for different distribution and packaging and things like that. And right next door is the Metronome style shop, where you can buy all this nice drip. This is basically the supreme of the Sinnoh region. Like it or not, but at least you don't do streetwear. Well, I guess it is streetwear, but it's a different kind. But yeah, other than that, I really like Veilstone City. This is definitely a top contender for places I'd like to live. And next we have Pastoria City, which is probably my least favorite place we visited so far. Probably because of one of two things. One, because we just came from Veilstone City, which was a lot of fun. Or two, there's not much here. There really isn't. I mean, there's grass, we got some trees. And probably the biggest attraction here is the Great Marsh Zone, which is just a normal safari zone in other Pokemon games. But there are some pretty cool Pokemon you can find here. Like I found this Meryl, so that was kind of nice. but I decided to leave pretty quickly because honestly it wasn't really capturing my attention. Pastoria City is a great place to visit. I don't know if it's somewhere I necessarily like to live, unless you like living kind of far away from everything. And the next place we got on our list is Hearthome City, or Hearthome City, or whatever it is. But first we're going to check out this kind of cathedral-like Pokemon building, and I, as a religious person, really like this, so I'd probably stay here. Next we have the Poffin House. So at least they have like a little Debbie-esque type of employment opportunities here. And also if I just want to feel like eating a Poffin one day, I could just walk down the street and come here. Next we have the Pokemon Fan Club, which I'm assuming is a non-profit organization in the Sinnoh Region. So that's pretty cool. And we're going to meet the president here, so if I ever want to work for a non-profit Pokemon organization within the Sinnoh Region, I can do that. And finally we have the contest hall. So if I want to do something like make my Pokemon magnificent in front of the eyes of the adoring public, I totally can here in Hearthome City. So overall, pretty cool place. I like it. Lots of activities to do. And the last thing is Amenity Square, or Amity Square. I don't even know how to pronounce it. It's one of the two. But regardless, here I can actually take out my Pokemon and walk around with him. So overall, this is a warm and kind place. It's really friendly, lots to do. Housing seems pretty good. This probably have to be in the top 3 contenders here at the end. So overall, great place to live. And another stop we have in our journey is Kanalave Town, which is a nice little place right to the coast, the western coast of the Sinnoh region. There's an inn, but it looks like it's closed. We also have a library. I believe there's another library in the Sinnoh region, but we're not visiting it in this journey. And it's really nice and cozy, but only the 3rd floor has readable material, or at least material I can actually get to. So that's quite unfortunate. So kind of dock some points for that one. And finally we have this sailor in the sailor's house here. I believe his name was something. And we go inside his house and there's not much there. It looks like a single family residency, which is okay. But it looks like maritime freight might be a viable economic opportunity here. But it looks like it only goes in where it's like a 2-way. And by 2-way means like it only has 2 destinations. It's its origin and some island very far away. So I guess if you're okay with just traveling that course every time, it's a great job to have. Next on our journey we have Snow Point City, and this place is kind of weird. I'm not sure how to describe it. It feels like I made it to Alaska, but not the cool part of Alaska, like the part of Alaska where nobody lives and there's nothing to do. So Juneau. But yeah, so here we have a Pokemon-esque sanctuary. Kind of cool, but not much going on there. And it just seems like the residents don't know what to do either. There's single family housing, but not much of it. Which makes sense. The demand definitely isn't there, so the supply need not grow to that level of demand. There's a gym. There's someone else we can talk to get some more boat rides. There's people complaining about the weather. Honestly, kind of one of the more dreary some places we've visited so far. Definitely not in my top 3. And one of the last places we're visiting on our Pokemon housing journey is Sunny Shore City. It's a nice place. Just imagine living on the East Coast, if the East Coast of the Sinnoh region was the West Coast of the United States. Lots to do here, nice lighthouse, doesn't bring much, but in here we have this Poketech guy. Poketech, I always forgot to pronounce it. But this guy, he keeps giving you some new apps for your watch. So this is like a Silicon Valley type of guy. This guy knows what he's doing, high productivity, being able to mass produce software for other people. Next we have ribbons. So ribbons are a big part of the local economy, but unfortunately this first lady we visited, she didn't have much to say about it or much to do with it, unfortunately. So we left, and there's only one shopkeeper who sells ribbons, and I'm not sure how I feel about him. He looks kind of shady, but he is selling them for no more than 100 Poke dollars or whatever they are at a piece. So that's pretty good. But yeah, definitely a nice little place to live. Lots of cool people visiting, nice culture, nice weather. Definitely within the top 3. But yeah, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter where you live, kind of. Not necessarily in economic viability or housing availability, and those are important factors. What matters at the end of the day is that you're happy with it. It's a place you can call home. A place where when you go back, you're excited to see everyone that's there and excited to experience everything the city has to offer. Unless it's Snow Point City, because that place is kind of dreary and I don't want to live there. But it has snow, so I gotta give it that.